bonjour, je vais très bien, and je vais très bien, merci. How is everybody? All right, glad you all can make it, and I hope you all had a great week so far. And as you already know, we're here to make it better. So, in our usual fashion, if you've been here before, you know we got to toast it up. So, here's to everybody on the line. All right. And man, we got a great one for y'all tonight. I don't know if y'all made it last time, but that was very, very interesting. Very interesting. And we talked about how do we know we're being taken advantage of. And I think that's something that we all need to master and understand so that we can't be manipulated. Or we can acknowledge and know when somebody is taking advantage of us. Okay? Now, but we got a good one tonight, and this one is going to be something that's going to knock your socks off, okay? And what we're going to talk about now is kind of a caveat off of the last one, and it's how do you know you're in a toxic relationship? Now, we all been in those relationships, and you know how your mother and your father, they used to pray for you, right? And you get involved with somebody, and they know that they ain't right for you. They just got that gut feeling, that intuition that they ain't right. And as soon as something happens, the first thing they say, Lord, won't he do it? Because he gonna show you. And that's all they're waiting on, for you to see it, because they see it before you do. But, so we're gonna talk about that. So without further ado, let me bring my co-host on so we can get it started, all right? Now y'all go ahead and get your glasses ready, and because you're going to need this to help digest some of this information that we're going to be giving you, all right? So hold on. All right, there we go. But like I said,
Hey everybody.
hey, DeJoya, how are you? Uh-oh.
uh,
She giggling and
hey.
laughing. I don't know what that means.
I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
You doing
You see, I
okay?
got on my passport gang shirt.
Oh, okay. I hear you. Yeah, you got a little style tonight.
Bro,
Kind of
I just
like
want
you
to tell
young.
y'all something. And then we gonna go on because we talking about toxic relationship. So let me just talk about it from a big back standpoint right quick
Well, we
before
ain't
we go
started
into the
yet. Let me get
I
Keith in here.
know, but
All right,
I
go
gotta
ahead.
tell them something. Let me
Okay.
tell y'all something. So I be trying all them different kind of pies, especially the strawberry ones. Now McDonald's ones, it was okay. Outback is phenomenal. It's phenomenal, and y'all got to get 2 scoops of ice cream when y'all get the skillet strawberry pie. But baby, I just had the pie pies one. Who they beat out McDonald's all day? They got 2 for 2 special. I got 4.
Well, you just
Big
greedy.
Mac people.
You
So
just greedy
Popeyes and
then.
Outback is winning, y'all. Huh?
You just greedy.
No, no. I just like food. Like y'all can tell that my facial features is plump, right? I ain't never
Right.
lied. Okay, so that's a toxic relationship right there. When you buy
With the
4
Popeyes to Jordan,
instead of
a
1.
toxic
Hmm.
relationship with strawberry pie.
Shoot, bruh. Food ain't gonna let me down. A man will. Okay, I'm
Oh,
good now.
okay. I
I'm,
feel
I'm
you.
good.
I feel what you're saying. All right. And
I'm
you're
good.
right. You ain't gonna worry. You don't have to worry about getting let down with food. That's for sure.
No.
Hey, Keith, what's happening, boss?
Yo,
Okay. Had a little trouble getting you in, man. I don't know
yeah,
what
no,
was
I'm actually leaving this. What's up, DeJoy? I'm actually leaving this hospital. My dad is in the
Hey.
hospital right now, so it
Oh,
probably was a bad reception trying to get out of there or whatever. But yeah, I'm about to roll out. So yeah, we that's how this holiday is. It's all love, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
yeah. Well,
yeah,
we
man.
hope he does well. We be praying for him, okay?
Appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I was trying to get in and out, and the phones and all that in the hospital, all that stupid stuff. But yeah, so we good. Let's go. Let's
Okay.
go. I didn't even hear what the really topic was and all that. What's the topic?
I was telling us how not to have a toxic relationship with the strawberry cream cheese pies that I done started with. Start with
Oh,
McDonald's and
you and your
Outback and
you already
Popeyes.
you already got a
We're
relationship.
talking,
Your relationship is all love. It ain't toxic with that strawberry cream pie. That's why you talking about.
yeah. We talking about toxic relationships, and she talking about her fascination with strawberry cream pie.
It's
I hear
holiday
you.
time though. It's time, Mr. G. You a cake guy. You know, I
Oh,
know
you
you
got
like
that
cake and all that and all.
right.
Yeah, so it's that
Yeah.
time. Get your
Oh
cake
yeah.
on, get your pie on, get your drink on.
Yeah.
Boy, I
Go
just
Yeah.
want to
ahead and
bust
get
out with
that.
that Missy Elliott while he talking about get you. I want to be like, get you, get you, get you, get you, get you.
Hey, get that extra 10 pounds on so you can work it off
The Joya got me laughing right now. Look at this. You funny as hell. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
All right, let's get on with this topic. This is going to be quite interesting, and it's going to shed a lot of information on how do you know you're in a toxic relationship, or is the person you with your person? How do we know that? Now, there are many clear signs that we tend to ignore, and I'm gonna defer that to DeJoya a little later on since she is a woman. But there are plenty clear signs that we see that we ignore. We don't have to be told it. We see them automatically. We know that there's something wrong. But I think the first and foremost, most important issue is you have to know what you want in a relationship and know what you will tolerate. That's the key. If you know what you want and know what you will tolerate, you will reduce a lot of the heartache that you experience in relationships when you don't have that at the forefront of your mind. You know,
Most people don't know what they want.
that's the key
Most
right
people don't
there.
know. Most people don't know what they want. Most
You
people
got
don't
that
even know
right.
what they want as a person. So if they
Exactly.
don't even know what they want as a person, there's no way they can know what they want in a relationship. And that's a lot of the problems with some of these situations. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, you got that right. I think I struck a nerve with you, Keith. So yeah, you hit the nail right on the head.
Oh, I've been through it. You've been through it. I've been through it. The Joy
Oh,
been through it. So yeah, this is easy. This is one of the easiest ones ever. We all been through it. So I mean, yeah, you know, you
and,
gotta,
and
yeah.
that's the best way to get your information from someone who experienced it, because that's the best teacher. Now, whatever you think or whatever you heard, if you haven't heard it from one person or any individual that's experienced it, you're not
Yeah.
going to get the full effect. You need to hear
Nah.
it from someone who went through it, you know.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's just
Mhm.
like with money. You're not going to listen to someone who's broke to tell you how to make a whole lot of money. You would rather listen to it from someone who has money and has been successful. So
Mhm.
it's the same type situation. And the second thing is you have to determine how important physical attractions are in your relationship. A lot of times, people spend a lot of time looking at the physical. And I think just by our nature, that's the first thing that we make observation of is the physical. And that's fine. But when you're talking about having a long-term relationship with someone, you have to get past that and see what makes them tick internally. Because if you don't
Yes.
understand what makes that individual tick, I'm telling you, that physical attraction, just like anything else, it fades. They're not going to look the same way at 20 when they get 50. So that physical attraction may change. It doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't still beautiful or handsome, but it changes. So you have to look into what their spirit is like, what their moral compass is. You have to get into those things.
I'm gonna tell you something because you could be pretty ugly all day, and my thing is, I've learned to look from the inside out, not from the outside to the inside, because um You think you got everything. You got this handsome man, or you got this beautiful woman, and on the inside, they really just rotten. They rotten to the core, just rotten from. And I mean, you just ignore that because you look at everything that you see on the outside, and then not even realizing that later on that's gonna change. I always look at somebody, mama or daddy, boy, because if they be messed up, I'll be like, let me just prepare myself for the ugliness, and let me just know I love them all day. And because I'm telling you, but it's so hard when you talk about feelings and knowing what you want, because Keith has said a lot of people don't even know what they want. And it was so bad for me at one time, leaving out of the relationship that I left years ago, that I didn't even know what I wanted when it came to eat. I got with somebody else, and they be like, "Where you want to go to eat?" I don't know, because I was scared to tell them, where I wanted to eat, because I didn't want them to say, "Well, I'm not going there," or we can't, or reject me in any way, because in the relationship that I left, the person wouldn't even take me outside. Like, we went to
Wow.
McDonald's, or we went to Chipotle, or if we went to the movies, we went to the drive-in. So, I thought no matter how beautiful I thought I was looking for them, or thought that I was, it never was enough. But I had to get to a point where it was enough for me. And I had to get to the point where, it was time to leave, and it was time to know when to go. You know how they say know when to fold them, baby. It took me 30 some years to know when to fold them. You know,
Well, I mean,
so
sometimes it happens that way, but we can't have a fear of rejection. Listen, and the reason I say that, because a lot of people use that as a catalyst to their behavior or their lack of courage. So we can never fear rejection. We get rejected throughout life. So I look at it from a common sense perspective. You know, everybody's not going to like the same thing. So if they don't like me, it's not a reflection that I'm wrong, or I did something, or I'm not good enough. It's a reflection of that's not what they like, or that's not what they want. And I'm fine with that. The dilemma is when people pretend to still like that particular thing or that particular person, and their behavior shows that they are not interested, or only have a little interest. So if that balance in the relationship is not there, then of course you're going to have problems. Now,
that's kind of hard,
yeah,
from
it is.
my
So,
perspective. Yeah, it's kind of hard because, one, if you've never been loved before, or you don't know how to love properly, then you don't know. You just make assumptions that that's how the relationship is supposed to go. Or if you're trying to love properly, or you're putting your whole self in there, and it's just not clicking with the other person, and that's all you're used to, until you get introduced to something else, you just don't know.
well, I'm gonna
You
tell
know.
you, I'm gonna debunk all of that, what you just said, because we know, and let me go on into the lesson, because we know if that relationship is toxic. As we opened up the discussion, there are clear signs to show us if an individual, like the song says, or if they're into us. If they're into us. And let me tell you why. If you spend time with your partner and it's exhausting, if it's difficult, if it's tiresome, if it's exhausting, you know that you're in a toxic relationship, because a healthy relationship does not tire you out. It does not make you feel that you're being extended beyond what you want to give. So that's the first way. If you're feeling exhausted, tired, and don't even want to be with them, I know people who dread even being around the person they profess to be in love with. They don't want to be around them. So that's one way. Here's the second way. If you're with someone, right, and when they're silent, when all the noise is gone, and it feels awkward to you, That's a sign you in a toxic relationship. When things quiet down, when there's nobody but you and him, or him and her, or whatever your preference is, if those moments of silence feel awkward, and we know what you know what I mean by awkward. That means that nobody knows what to say. You get a little itsy, you get a little, your energy starts shifting. That's an awkward situation, because a healthy relationship, even in a moment of silence, is enjoyable. It's just the vibe. It's the energy that's given. You've muted out.
What I'm telling you is, if that's all you're used to, until you finally meet the person, someone who loves you and who's in love with you, and you're introduced to something different, you don't realize that you were in a toxic relationship, and then you blame things on yourself. You put the I factor in there, and it really shouldn't have been a factor. It should have been a we or us factor. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying anything you're saying is wrong. But what I am saying is that a lot of people don't know they're in a toxic relationship, or they're going through something bad till they level up, so to speak. You
Okay.
could just bump into somebody by chance, and they may just open the door for you, or they may just smile, or they may just ask you, what do you like? Well, how was your day? But until something actually clicks, and until those breadcrumbs are dropped in, you really don't realize it. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, I beg to differ with you, and I agree with you on most things. I'm saying that even when you're in a relationship, you know how it makes you feel. I mean, I can't believe that someone that's in a toxic relationship. Now, there are many reasons why people stay, and I'm not trying to debunk any of that. I'm saying when you're in a toxic relationship, because you know how it makes you feel. You understand? If I don't feel loved, if I don't feel like that person is really into me for whatever reason, if I don't feel that way, it has nothing to do with anybody else. It has to do with my internal feelings, the way I feel as an individual. So if I'm in a relationship and I don't feel good, then I know I'm in a toxic relationship. Like I said, those moments of silence, even if you're silent for a moment, if you've ever been in a toxic relationship, and you ride around, or you're in the same house, and it just feels awkward, there's something wrong. It's a small thing, and it seems like it's very insignificant. But feeling awkward when you and your partner aren't talking isn't a great sign. This means that you're merely uncomfortable merely being with your partner. If you can't communicate with them, or if you can, or her, and you can't talk, or when those moments of silence just seem awkward, that shows that you have a communication problem. And if you've got a communication problem, which is one of the main elements of having a healthy relationship, then you know that there's something wrong with the relationship. If silence makes you feel like you need to quickly think of something to say. Now, I've witnessed this. In moments of silence, if you feel that you need to quickly think of something to say, you have to ask yourself how at ease you feel with your partner. How at ease are you if you have
So
to
since so
quickly.
since we going by textbook stuff, or since we going by what you say, if you were in a bad relationship then, or if you have been, how long did it take you to realize you were in a bad relationship? But
Hey,
because it's different for men than it is women sometimes.
that may be true, but listen, I'm telling you from day one, I realize when I'm in a bad relationship. Now, again, let me kind of just give an alibi in that scenario. There may be reasons that you stay. But the acknowledgement of knowing that you're in a bad relationship, that's easy because it has nothing to do with anything external. It has to do with how you feel. So if I don't feel good with this person, then if I can't communicate with this person, if I don't feel any love from this person, or even if I feel love, if it's not enough for me to sustain myself and feel good about myself, then I know it's toxic. So I'm not arguing. There are reasons that people stay, and people stay longer than other people. And for whatever reason, they may have to stay in that situation. I'm not arguing that point. They may need something or feel that they need that individual. And that's simple enough for people to stay. All right? So I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to debunk the fact that we don't know when we're in a bad relationship. We know when we're in a bad relationship. We know when we're in a toxic relationship.
I'm just gonna tell you. I'm just gonna say to you,
Go
in
ahead.
your little
Don't
circle.
stop my little world.
I'm not even finna be. I'm not even finna snap right now. But in your little circle, in your little life, that might work. But there are times when you just don't realize you're in a bad situation because you just don't. I mean, I'm not saying you don't realize
I'm
it
just
later
saying,
down the
how is
line.
that possible, DeJoy? How is it possible?
I don't know how it's not possible for you, but I'm telling you about other real people in real life, in real situations. Everybody is not let me break it down, let me psychoanalyze this, let me think about this.
This got nothing to
Everybody's
do
not
with
like
that.
that.
This got
What?
nothing to do with that.
Yes, it does, because you think that you think that everybody should think like you and say,
No,
"Hey, I
do
know."
not. Don't put words in my mouth.
But you saying that though a little bit.
I'm not saying that. I'm just making one simple point.
Fix it, Lord Jesus.
I'm making one simple point. The point that I'm making is, regardless of how long we stay, are the reasons we choose to stay, are the mandatory reasons that we have to stay. We know that we're in a toxic relationship because it has nothing to do with anything else but how you feel. If you're in a relationship, you know how you feel. Nobody can determine that for you. You know,
because you
Can I say something?
Sometimes people dismiss things. Can
I say something?
Go ahead on.
All right. I hear what Joy is saying, and I hear what you're saying, right?
Right.
Let me see if I can say it this way, that maybe we can all come together. When you are a vibe person, like I'm a vibe person, so I go off a vibe. So you can tell in a situation when the vibe is off. If it's your significant other, you're even more in tune with the vibe you should be. Now, what happens is, what you're saying, Mr. G, is that even in these situations where we know the vibe is off, we may not look at it. Now, this is what DeJoy is saying. We're not going to look at it and say it's a toxic relationship, but maybe we know the vibe is off. So we can't gauge toxic versus vibe is off. So what happens is, as a person, you now have to decide what your bandwidth is if you want to figure out why the vibe is off. Some people know why it's off. Some people need to figure out why it's off. But that doesn't necessarily mean, because the vibe is off, that you're in a toxic relationship. Now, I agree with you that you know how you feel as a person. And for me, personally, if the vibe is off with my significant other, with her, for example, there's a problem. And if we are really tapped in the way we're supposed to be, the vibe should never be off, because the conversation would happen before the vibe goes off. Because we're one, we want to be together. I'm giving an example, right? You understand what I'm saying? Where there's that individuality, some people want to keep certain things from people. That's why the communication can't happen, because they're not telling you everything. So you got to go off a vibe. And as we talked about before, what you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you say. You can tell me all day everything is great, But if your energy is different than that, then I know there's a problem. Now, then I have to decide how long I want to stay in to figure out the problem if you won't communicate it to me. And then if I have to dig into it, why do I have to dig into it that much? Why can't you just make it easy? You know what I'm saying? It's so I don't
Well,
know. I hear what I
well,
hear. DeJoy is right. Some
I, I,
people,
I hear everything that's being said. My,
right, but you know how you feel, Mr. G. So that's why I said to you, I agree with you on that overall, you know how you feel. So that's why I said the vibe part of it. So that at that point, you're deciding, I know how I feel, but I want to figure it out, or I want to
right.
stay in longer to see this. Or maybe some people can't jump out of a situation because maybe they're financially dependent,
And
etc.
that's all I'm saying. Listen,
Right.
listen.
I want they
There
100%.
there are a multitude of reasons and legitimate reasons people stay in toxic relationships. There are reasons. I'm not, I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm saying one thing. I'm saying this. The way you feel in a relationship tells you all you need to know. Now, that doesn't mean that every day is going to be perfect. Of course, I'm not saying that. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have arguments or disagreements. Of course, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when we talk about toxicity, being in a relationship that's harmful or makes us feel we don't feel like there's value or you being valued in a relationship. We know that. Now, for instance, let's say that I've got 3 children, right? I really don't have a job, and my baby daddy treats me horribly, right? I may stay in that relationship because I need the financial support. I might need the place to stay. I might need all the support that he can give me. But that doesn't change the fact that I know I'm in a toxic relationship. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying you know how you feel. You can't. It's hard for me to believe that a person is in a relationship. I'm not saying that they won't stay or they have legitimate reasons to stay. I mean, the Georgia said she stayed in one for 30 years. So her reason and validation may be perfect in her situation and necessary. I'm saying you know in that relationship whether or not it's toxic because of the way you feel and how you're being treated. If someone knows I'm hungry and they don't feed me, then that tells me all I need to know about that individual. I don't care if they come back the next day with a steak. If today I'm hungry and they have the means to feed me and they don't, that tells me all I need to know. Tomorrow, when they apologize with that T-bone steak, it doesn't change what I saw. It doesn't change how they treated me. But we're not going to beat it. I mean, we have difference of opinions on that, and I agree and I respect what the Georgia is saying. I'm just saying me, and I just don't see how you don't know when you're in a toxic relationship. I don't see how you know. It can be camouflaged in a lot of ways. That's why we have the battered woman syndrome. Yeah, they might be battered, but you can't tell me they don't know they're being beaten. And if they stay in that relationship, they may have legitimate reasons for staying. Or their circumstances may not allow them to leave. That's
Well,
all I'm
I'll
saying.
say well, see, okay, I'll say this. There's different examples, but I can speak to the battered woman thing because one of my sisters was in an abusive relationship. And we and my family experienced that firsthand. Um there's some things that I can't say that we had talked about doing to the male significant other.
I know.
But no, yo, hey, whoa, man. But let me tell you. But here's the thing. Here's what changed my whole perspective on it.
Right.
My sister told me that she didn't care what happened. If we did anything to him, she wasn't messing with us. And I said, what in the world are you talking about right now? We going to handle, look. And she gave all these different reasons and justifications and all these things. So I'll say with the battered woman part is mental.
Right.
And what happens is they get guilted sometimes into believing that what's happening is their fault. And if they fall into that and they own it that way, that's what further exacerbates the abuse, because it's not just physical. It's actually more mental than physical. The physical is just kind of part of it,
Right.
but it's actually all mental.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think,
Hey,
so I
but
think,
That's what I'm
and
saying.
I see what
but
you're speaking to. But my point is, the reasons you stay, I'm
oh
not
yeah, they,
saying
of
the
course,
reasons that they
yes,
stay.
she
You
knew,
know?
100%. She knew, no question. I'm not debating what you're saying. I'm agreeing with you from the beginning. What I'm saying is the joyous angle is coming more from the angle of what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Right.
Correct me
because
if
you
I'm
think
wrong.
that's
And I
how
get
you
that. And
think
I
that
get
that's
that.
how it's supposed to be. I'm just telling you. And I
Let's
didn't
say that again now. It's supposed to be.
you because when that's happening to you, especially if you haven't experienced anything differently, and I'm saying even with situations in your family prior to you being in wherever you are, if
Right.
you haven't experienced anything differently, you don't know. You don't realize it, but then once you get out, you get to crack out of that space for a little bit, and you get exposed to something else or someone else, then you start saying, I think maybe something might, for me it was like, I think something was wrong with that, or I don't think it was all me. But other than that, you start making excuses like it's me, or could I do this better, or you know what, he does this to me because at one point it was get in my
Joya.
car.
But I
I,
think what Mr. G is saying to Joy is that you still knew something was off.
You
And I think
knew it.
that's what we're
well,
all
when you
saying.
see but I had to see something different for me to realize that it was wrong. What I'm trying to tell you is, it's not that I didn't realize, but it took for me to see something different for me to realize that hey, that wasn't right. You get what I'm saying? I didn't. It wasn't
Listen,
me.
I agree with that. I agree with you. All I'm saying is that you have to know in that relationship, if there was any physical abuse, you knew if there was some physical abuse in the relationship. If the individual was not loving you or spending time with you, you knew that. If the individual always made excuses for whatever reasons, you knew those things. Why you stay, I'm not arguing. There are women, there are men, there are people that stay in relationships that they shouldn't stay in, but you can't tell them to leave because they don't have any other circumstances or they don't know any other thing. So I'm not saying that I don't believe that you have to get out to know it's toxic. When you get out, you realize there's a better place to be in your life, or there's a better situation, or this is the way to be loved properly. You know that. But if you're in a toxic relationship, there are signs, there are things that happen to you that you know this is not how I'm supposed to feel. That's all I'm saying. The reasons people stay, that's up to them and their circumstances. I can't say right or wrong because I'm not in the situation. But I'm just saying that and you muted out because I see you trying to say something, but I can't hear you.
You ain't need to hear what I was saying.
Oh, well, it was good then. So I have empathy and I understand. I can be sympathetic. I'm just making one simple point that if you're in a toxic relationship.
Sometimes I just wish, and I forget what name of that movie was, that Disney movie when the parents switch place with the kids. Sometimes I wish that men could switch places sometimes with some
Freaky
of us women.
Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis and
That's
Lindsay
what I'm
Lohan.
saying.
Freaky
It don't have.
Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish that y'all could have a Freaky Friday episode sometimes with women, because y'all come up with all these analytical things,
No, don't say that
no,
because
I
you
know,
don't.
but
Men,
yes,
Yeah, I
sometimes,
disagree with you on that,
experience the
but
same
Dejoya. Yeah,
thing.
nah,
sometimes
chill.
well, you don't gotta agree, but sometimes,
Listen, I'm just
you
telling
come
you,
up.
men experience the same thing. Men are abused in relationships too.
Okay, not as often as women, and then but y'all don't be sick. But sometimes, men can be so insensitive to situations when we're talking about them, because I guess because y'all see things differently, or I don't know what it is, but sometimes I just wish that you guys could switch places with some of us women, or women in certain situations, just to know how hard it is. Not to say you don't understand, not to say this and that and the third. I'm not saying that, but I just wish that sometimes, y'all could switch places just to see how hard it may be to either articulate these things, or to get out, or to even understand what is happening at the moment.
But we could say the same thing, my friend. We could say that we want women to switch with us to understand where
Don't
we
say
coming
that.
from.
I'm telling you, I'm
I
saying
mean,
to
it
see
goes
it.
both ways. It's not about. I don't think you're saying anything different than
Right,
what Mr. G is saying.
right,
Like I think you're further elaborating on it. Like you acknowledge that you knew, but you had to figure out what you. Nobody's saying that when you know that you don't have to figure it out. All
right.
he's saying is that if something's off, you know it's off.
You know it.
But why you stay or why you work through it, what you're trying to do, obviously we can't, none of us are in that particular specific situation. So that's what I'm saying. I think we can all agree on. We know
Yeah,
when something's off.
and
That's all.
I agree with that 100%. I think from the Georgia's perspective, she's thinking I'm saying that, oh, you're in a toxic relationship, you're supposed to leave immediately. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when you're in a toxic relationship because you know how you feel. If you can leave that day, then that's fine. If it takes you 30 years, then that's fine too. But you still know that you're in.
Most men or women can't leave right away because there's emotions involved. Men and women are the same.
And
So
I
it never
understand
happens.
that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think
Yeah.
if that's what you think I'm saying, I'm sorry, DeJoy. I'm not saying that you should leave the moment you realize you're in a toxic relationship, because most people can't do that for whatever reason, financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. People have certain beliefs. Some people, like my parents, and in their era, they were some women that were abused. Almost every day of their lives, but their spirituality, they believe that I'm married, so I'm supposed to tolerate it. But I'm saying they knew that they were in a toxic relationship. So we can agree to disagree on that, and I respect what you're saying.
No, I think that Joya agrees because she acknowledged that. She said that. I don't think she said that she didn't know. I think what she's saying is that you got to figure it out, right, DeJoya? Like, something's off in the situation, right?
You just gotta figure out when you're gonna get to that part in The Color Purple, when they ask where your sister at, and you be like, she about to shave, Mister. And you figure out that plan right there. I'm just saying, because that's where
We're
it is.
saying,
Come on,
we're
Sealy.
saying the
Cut it out,
same thing.
Sealy. Sealy, cut it out, Sealy.
Hey,
Sealy,
we're
cut it
saying
out.
the
I'm
same
serious
thing,
now.
because you said that you knew. So we're saying the same thing. I think the
Yes.
misunderstanding is that you were thinking that I'm trying to say you should leave immediately. No, that would be
Yeah,
unreal.
that ain't how men operate. And any man that say I saw this situation, he left. No, he didn't either. Nah, we the same. It's like, yo, no. Nobody was saying that at all. Not at all. I wasn't saying that. And I know, I for sure wasn't saying that. It took me years to get out of my situation because I
Right.
had to figure it out and get wise. You know what I'm saying? And then the hardest part is accepting it. See, you can know something's off, but you got to accept it. And that's the thing. Sometimes it could take years for acceptance, you know, based on how you came together, based on the love you have for that person, based on the history, based on the whole emotional connection. Oh my goodness, it could take years for acceptance.
And
Woo.
your
Yeah.
circumstances. This is a lot of people, most of the average people, they're not in financial position. I would equate that to the biggest part. If, for instance, if you've got a single mother, she has a baby and she's 18, or she had a child when she was young, she doesn't have life experiences. She doesn't have the financial means to sustain herself. So if she's with one of these knuckleheads out here who is out there running the streets and he's providing a place to stay and whatever, then she's going to be reluctant to leave. So I get the part that they may stay, and there are legitimate reasons and circumstances beyond their control that may force them to stay. But you can't tell me that they don't know if that dude ain't coming home, if that dude is beating her every night, or if that dude got other women. You can't tell me they can't feel that. And then with the YNs, they'll let you know they got other baby mamas. They got other girls.
Mr. G, you stay young. YNs. Yo,
So I'm
Mr.
just
G,
saying.
stay young. Yo. Good.
So I'm just saying, those are reasons. Those are reasons that you know that is toxicity in that relationship, and that you're in a toxic relationship. That doesn't mean, DeJoya, that they should leave tomorrow. Because if they ain't got nowhere to go, then I would be naive to think that, hey, you should just go and live in the streets. So I think we all saying the same thing. But back to what we're saying. You know, because those moments of silence, they feel awkward. And the second thing is that you always feel like you need space. When you're with an individual and you don't want to be with that individual for whatever reason, if you want space, let's say because both of you work from home, you're all together all the time, then it might make sense, right? It's healthy for any relationship to maintain your individuality. And I think a lot of times in relationships, a lot of people in the relationships, they expect you to lose your individuality. It's healthy to be your own self in a relationship. So, but that's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about if you need space because you don't even want to be around that dude, or you don't feel comfortable around that dude, or you don't feel loved around that dude, then you need that space, and it's not a healthy need. It's because you're dealing with a toxic individual who has, and here's the kicker, they have exhibited toxic behavior. All right? Now, here's the thing. If you're with someone, right, and every night you're wishing that you were somewhere else, or you wish you were alone, there might be something going on. If you are wishing to be alone, we're talking about that space, there might be something going on. Here's another key. And I'm giving all these examples so people can do some self-analysis, look at yourself, and determine whether or not you leave or stay. At least you can be equipped with the information and the characteristics that will help you identify a toxic relationship.
Wait a minute. Let me just put this out in the TikTok universe real quick. We are not responsible for the rise in the divorce rate after this live. Do not hold us responsible
This
right
is simply our opinion.
Don't hold us responsible right now, please.
Yeah, I'm glad you put that disclaimer out there because I don't want nobody coming back and say, "Hey, we saw we talk, and now I ain't got nowhere to stay. Y'all need to find me a house or something." No, we're not telling you to do anything. We're just sharing information. If their opinion bothers you, if their opinion bothers you, you know how sometimes when somebody says something when you despise that person and it kind of makes your skin crawl. That's the thing that I'm talking about. If their opinion bothers you, you may have failed to realize how different your morals and values are in that relationship. If their opinion of something bothers you, that's a sign that you're with the wrong person. The next thing is if your needs feel incompatible. Only you know what bothers you. Here's the point that I was making earlier, DeJoya, that you know how you feel. Only you know what bothers you to the point that makes you feel upset. You don't have to show it. And a lot of times in toxic relationships, especially if there's violence, people, women, men, they don't show it. But you know, just like you know if you're in a toxic relationship, you know what upsets you. It may be something as little as you need to talk throughout the day, and your partner is always texting you on their phone. And that's during this modern day texting where everybody has a cell phone or a smartphone. Maybe you want someone that's able to express their emotions, but they see feelings as a sign of weakness. And we have a lot of male testosterone that's out there. They feel that being emotional is a sign of weakness. Right? What? All right, so I'm back. You're muted out, DeJoya.
Don't be hopping up in the camera like that. The Blue Moon don't be doing right. You be hopping up. I be like, "Want to catch these?"
No, that little puzzle comes across.
Like you gonna catch these? You gonna catch these knuckles right here? See this?
That puzzle comes off for me to continue. But anyway, so if your needs are incompatible, when you see someone who is obviously avoiding speaking to you or talking to you, or vice versa, if you are that person and you feel more comfortable not even speaking, then that's a toxic relationship. Let's not get it confused. Being in a toxic relationship doesn't necessarily mean that it's violent. So when people hear that word, that's a strong choice of word when people say toxic. That doesn't mean violence. That means in a relationship where you're not valued, you don't feel any self-worth, and the individual you're with is not doing anything to provide that information to make you feel good. Okay? Now, the other thing is you don't feel respected. Within a relationship in life, respect is the utmost thing that's important. With any relationship, a platonic one, romantic, father, daughter, mother, son, respect is of the utmost importance. A healthy relationship is one where the two people are equal, not when one is put on a pedestal. And see, sometimes we have relationships with people who they've been taught that if this individual earns this kind of money, or this individual looks this kind of way, or this individual has this kind of status in life, then you are subservient to that. And that's not how it goes. Regardless of what position someone is in life, how much money they earn, how beautiful they are, it does not place them in a superior position. That's unhealthy and that's toxic in a relationship. And you're going to have issues if an individual feels that way. Or not, better yet, you're going to have issues if you treat that individual like that. I don't care what I have or how much money I have, millions, the Bentley, the mansion, all of that stuff. It does not matter. And I don't acquire those things so my partner can think that I'm all that, I'm superior. When we enter into that relationship, then, before we enter into the relationship, the understanding is that we're the same, or there's no superior being in a relationship. And a lot of people do that. Disrespect is a significant sign you're with someone that doesn't treat you as an equal. If someone disrespects you, y'all hear what I'm saying? If someone disrespects you, it shows that you're in a relationship that is not equal. And people say, well, you can't have equality in a relationship. Yes, you can. You don't have to have equal money. You don't have to have equal beauty. You don't have to have any of those physical attributes that people draw to. But respect can be equal. That means that I respect you and you respect me. If I respect you, I'm not going to do anything to make you feel less than or less valuable than me. And that's where people miss the boat. All right? You want to add anything to Joy Your Key?
No, I'm gonna be good, but I'm glad that Sugar respect the fact that I don't have his kind of money, cause baby, I'm just tell you, ooh, Jesus, we had to make it on that. If I had to make it on that, he'll be done left me a long time ago. I'm glad he loved me for me, baby. I'm glad he loved me. He in love with me, and I love him too. And yes, I'm clingy, so no, I don't like being separated from him at all. You know, we have that. But on a serious note, we have those conversations, all the time, about what happened in my past or what, scarred me in the past or what may have scarred him in the past. And, I think that when you do move past the bad relationship or you get out of what we consider toxic, I think that that's a conversation that should be had with your mate to let them know that the things that bother you, not to be afraid, to let them know the things that bother you or how you want to be better. Not so much as the things that bother you because you don't want to carry all that way, but just to put out some things that you would like to see to make yourself better or to make the relationship better or so that you don't run into so many hiccups. I think that a lot of times some adults don't realize that that's a mature conversation that needs to happen. And that's not necessarily bringing your baggage into what's new. That's just letting somebody know, like, hey, you know what, we at this level and I care about you this much, and this is where we are. We're gonna push forward, but these are the things that I just turn it off like that I need to make me better so I can be better for the both of us so we can be better. And I think a lot of times people have problems with that. Bringing your baggage into a relationship would be the baby daddy coming to break the windows out the car, this, that, and the third. But making yourself better and making your relationship better so you don't have those failures, just saying, well, hey, this is what happened. This is what I think went wrong. Not specifically to say where I went wrong, or not specifically for him to say where he went wrong, because it's not about that. It's about getting it right so that you all can stay together and you all can be okay and you can have a relationship or have something with someone that you can build with, versus them trying to build by themselves. It's best to build with somebody than to have each compartment building, because then it won't work. Because I don't know your blueprint, you don't know my blueprint, but if we get together and come up with one, then we can come up with a foundation that's there and that's solid, that so that we can have things together and everybody doesn't feel like it's one part working from apart from the other. And that's just my take on that.
Oh, yeah.
That
Well
part.
said. I agree 100%. And you're absolutely right. But here's another thing. If you often dream of a different life, if you often dream of a different life and it excludes your partner, if you're in a relationship where you are so distraught and so upset, when you go to bed and you dream of a different life and it excludes your partner, then you know that you're in the wrong relationship. Especially if you dream it often, If you dream of a better life and it excludes your partner, then you know you're in the wrong relationship. The other thing is that if you feel isolated from the rest of your life, now we've heard of people, and we may have been in these type of relationships where your partner actively keeps you from your life outside of the relationship, or you feel obligated, not because you want to, but you feel obligated to focus your energy on your partner. If you feel obligated, where someone makes you feel that you're the center of their universe, and that's one of their requirements, neither of those two things are healthy signs. A supportive partner will encourage you to see your friends. They will encourage you to pursue your hobbies. They will encourage you to do those things. They don't isolate you from the things that you love to do, or the things that make you happy.
And they'll even tell you that they'll help you with what your
Absolutely.
dreams and your things that you want to do. How can I help you if I can? Right? That's what a real
Absolutely.
supportive partner would do.
Absolutely. A thriving relationship would feel like one where you love living your separate lives and coming back to each other at the end of the day.
Yep, and that's me. I am clean. I be running. I be like, "Hey, sugar, I miss you. Hey, sugar, I love you. Hey, I'm okay." That's me. I'm gonna run back to you. I'm gonna be like Whitney Houston. That's how much that I enjoy my life right now. So I could be like Whitney Houston. I want to run to you, y'all. I be singing that song by myself. I be
And
blowing up the house.
I'm
Hmm.
happy. I'm happy because that's the way your life
Yes.
should be, and it should be enhanced that way so that you can enjoy your life. When you feel trapped, when you're in a relationship and you feel there's nowhere else to go, you know deep down you're with the wrong person, but you feel like you're trapped there for any reason. It doesn't have to have anything that has to be so detailed and so spelled out where it makes sense to anybody. It has to be for any reason. It's time for you to start making a game plan on how to lead. If you feel trapped in that kind of situation, you know that eventually you're going to have to leave. That doesn't mean that you leave today. That means you need to start making plans because you're unhappy. Also, you should never be with a person when you feel that you're trapped with them. That's not fair to either of you. You're trapped with them. I gotta be here, and I can't. I don't love this person, but I gotta be here. That means that you're trapped. Here's a here's a big kick. Now, when I was in the military, I had soldiers that worked for me and worked with me. And, of course, when you make certain rank, you become counselor, you become psychologist, you become all of those things because you're the first line of leadership. When you find any reason not to go home, that means you're in a toxic relationship. I had female soldier that worked for me, and everyone else in the office, to include the leadership that was over me, they felt, oh, that's a great worker. She's always in there. She's always working overtime. But then I noticed something, because you have to pay attention to certain things, especially when you have soldiers, because you're responsible for their welfare. And I began to just observe. And I'm not talking about you get off at 5 o'clock and someone stays about 6. Okay. Now, we're talking about staying to 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I approached the individual, not being, and the other thing I tell people who counsel people, you have to kind of mitigate in a way that's not threatening or too intrusive. Because if you do that, people will shut down. But if you go in a certain way, once you observe and see a certain type of behavior, you may need to interject a little humor. You may need to not say nothing and then just watch and see where they open up. But anyway, this individual used to stay at about 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I finally approached him and said, hey, I appreciate all this great work you're doing, but look, let's talk. There's something going on. Come on now. And I played around a little bit. And then they started telling me their entire story. They started telling me that they hated going home. And it wasn't always physical. It's just that they did not like being with the individual they were with. And then there are consequences when, I'm not going to say consequences. It's frowned upon if you are married in the military and you have issues. They want to fix those issues so that you can get along. Of course, if an individual does not want to be with someone, ain't no fixing that. So I just say that because if you find any reason not to go home, you might even plan an event every day. We had a place called the NCO Club, and people who didn't want to go home, the first thing they did was duty hour was over, they were straight at the NCO Club. You might start making plans for other events, purposely not inviting your partner. These may be signs you're no longer happy with your relationship. So we have to look at all of these different things and acknowledge that we're in a toxic relationship. And again, we spent a whole 15, 20 minutes debating with Miss O'Neill about whether or not you're in a relationship. You're in a relationship. You have to figure out if and when it's time for you to exit. And we are not naive. We're not saying you have to leave tomorrow. Everybody's situation is different. And if you're in a toxic relationship, eventually you're going to have to leave that relationship, or you're going to settle for being unhappy the rest of your life. No one is going to do that. I guarantee you, there's no one that's going to just settle for being unhappy. Because we're all created a certain way. We're created to be happy. So if it's not happening, we're going to find it. It's just the way we're created. As simple as that. Now, if you can't imagine spending your life with them, if you close your eyes and think about it, if you're in a relationship where you cannot imagine spending your life with them, you're in a toxic relationship. And let me repeat, toxicity does not mean violence all the time. Sometimes it could be.
Why you gotta be looking at me like that?
I'm not looking at you. I'm cockeyed because them Hennessy's got me. I'm not even.
Yeah, you are.
I'm looking at you.
Why you gotta be looking at me? Shoot, don't be talking about some toxicity. Don't be doing that to me. No,
I
sir.
was not referring to you. I was just speaking out loud. So if
Oh,
you can't imagine spending your life with that individual, then you know that you're in the wrong relationship. You can usually get a sense of whether or not you can see the relationship lasting forever. You can get a sense of that. That doesn't necessarily mean you're right. If right off the bat you thinking about forever makes you feel claustrophobic, get kind of closed in, then that's not a good sign. If you start feeling like, okay, forever means, oh, I'm going to be swarmed by this individual, I can't deal with it, then that's not a good sign. I'm not saying you have to commit to forever right now. I'm not saying that.
listen, this the last relate. Let me just tell y'all something. That what he's saying. This the last relationship I got in me. Forever ain't long enough. We is not starting over. I already done told him if you think we breaking up, we not. Cause I'm not starting all this over again. It was too much. It was too exhausting to try to clear out whatever I had cleared out. Now I'm to this point. We not starting all over again.
I feel
Forever
you.
not long enough. I love you. I'm in love with you. I'm that 5 heartbeats kind of love when I come slide through that stage.
I
Hit that
had plausible deniability. That's what I'm saying to everybody on the live. So if the Joy and her man break up and he dead, I got plausible deniability. That's all I'm saying.
I'm
I
just trying
had
to tell you.
plausible that way he
Look,
said that. No, we not breaking up. That's
we
it.
not.
Oh
I'm
no,
that
I got
5 heartbeats.
plausible
Listen,
deniability. TikTok, every social
no.
media, I have plausible
Listen.
deniability to what she talking
Hey,
about.
we got that 5 heartbeats kind of love. Like you
No.
don't know me.
Your
I know
hours at
you.
9
I'm
to
still
5.
with you,
You know what I'm
JC. I'm
saying?
still with
Yeah.
you.
But I'm saying, I'm not saying that you have to have that
Yeah, remember boy,
forever.
that 5 heartbeats. He said, "I'm not an alcoholic. I
Yes,
ain't no alcoholic."
look, ain't no alcoholic. I'm just yes, I am right now
Come
though.
on, man.
The blue moons done kicked in, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell. But I'm not saying it has to be forever right then and there. But if you're not able to picture a future at all, it's something that you need to consider. If you cannot consider a future at all, it's something you need to consider. Over time, bad relationships can encourage health issues like inflammation. And this is something people don't understand. You're sick and you're tired and you're run down and you're,
Tell it.
you're
Tell
getting
it.
all of these colds and flus
Tell
and
it.
all of that. You know,
Tell it.
being in a bad relationship can cause those health issues such as inflammation, body aches, skin flare-ups, all kind of headaches, all those different things are a result of being in a bad relationship. And you're going to the doctor wondering what's wrong with you. Nah, what's wrong is you're with the wrong somebody. And that individual is causing a whole lot of anxiety, a whole lot of hardship, unnecessary duress, and it can often lead to depression. So you have to understand that. Now, here are 4 characteristics of a successful relationship. The 4 factors to a successful relationship. Healthy relationships involve these 4 things. Y'all ready? Get set and go. Honesty is one. Trust, respect, and open communication. Honesty, trust, respect, and open communication. If you got those four things, your relationship is going to be almost perfect, as we know it, because we know there's nothing personal in it, perfect in this life.
You listened to that LL Cool J song before you had wrote this
What?
before you came on this live, did you? Because that's what he be saying. Honesty, respect, and admiration. This whole experience. You were listening to
I
LL Cool
ain't
J.
listened to
I
LL
know
Cool
you
J.
yes, he did, Keith. He listened to LL Cool J before he came on this
What the
live.
devil? What
You
the
talking about
devil?
LL Cool J's the
I
latest
need
album, the
love.
newest album, the Proclivity
No, I
song?
need love, honesty,
Oh, I
respect,
need love.
admiration.
Oh
No,
man, you
it's
wild.
such a you.
Oh,
Yeah,
No,
you
you
wild.
did.
You
Yeah, you
wild.
did. Oh my God.
He
Okay,
said he went back to bigger and deafer. He went back
yeah,
to the
thank
80s. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? He had to go back to the
LL,
80s to get that.
thank you, LL, for
Yeah.
that little piece of
That's the
advice.
bigger and deafer album, but yeah.
Yeah, carry
but
on.
those are the four things that between partners, and they take effort and compromise from both people. Those four things: the honesty, trust, respect, and open communication. It takes compromise from both people, and it takes a lot of effort. Now, since we talked about it, here's how you leave a toxic relationship. Since we already determined that everybody knows they're in one, because it's based on how you feel. Why you choose to stay may be legitimate as all day, but in the end, nobody wants to be in a toxic relationship. So here's 11 ways that you can leave. All right. First of all, you build a support system. Second, stay firm with your decision to leave. You know how some people will decide to leave and then they, oh no, that it don't look as good on the other side right now. So you have to stay firm with your decision to leave. You have to cut off contact. A lot of people have issues with that. Cut off contact. Unfollow them on your social media. And most importantly, know that you deserve better. Once you know that you deserve something better, you work toward getting to that place in your life. And if you need help, there's nothing wrong with professional help if you need it. So seek professional help if you need it. You know, keep a journal of your emotions. That helps people get through the day. If you keep a journal as to how you feel each day, it'll help you navigate through some of the difficult times.
What in a Dr. Sparks world is that?
I'm giving you the professional.
Ooh, fix us, Jesus. Fix it. Okay.
This is what the experts say, DeJoya. So you keep a journal of your emotions.
All them experts, cause baby, I'm about to say now, don't nobody. Oh, I felt happy today. Oh, I let Mr. survive today. I let him survive another day. I didn't shave him today. Jesus, fix it. Okay, y'all. Okay, carry on. Go ahead
I'm
on.
glad you got your point across. All right. And then make a detailed plan of how you plan to leave. Right? Those are just some things that you can do if you realize and acknowledge you're in a toxic relationship and you want to leave. Those are some of the things that you can do. Of course, there are all kind of variations of that, but they all boil down to the same thing. Now, knowing whether or not you're in a toxic relationships comes down to recognizing patterns. not isolated moments. Let me repeat that. Knowing whether or not you're in a toxic relationship comes down to recognizing patterns. So, in other words, if you observe something once or every now and then, that's not a pattern. But if you notice something that's continuous in their behavior, then that's a pattern. So when we know that there are certain things that don't agree with us, there's a certain way that we feel in that relationship, and it is consistent and continuous, then that is a pattern. Okay? So we don't look for isolated moments. Anybody can have a bad day. So they may mouth off and say something that they don't mean. And again, with me, as far as being respectful, there's some things I won't say. I've got enough emotional maturity where if I want to say something, I know how to curtail it. But that takes maturity, and that takes some learning, because most people are going to mouth off just the way they feel because they don't have control of their emotions yet. But once you gather control of your emotions, then you think before you speak. Because one of the things I learned in this life, once you say something, you can't take it back. And you don't know how that one thing you say may affect that individual. So we have to be very careful. So I'm going to open it up to my co-host real quick before I come with this conclusion, because this has been good, and I hope this information helps you because it's necessary, particularly in this day and age where relationships are not as valuable as they were a couple years ago. All right? So, DeJoya, you got anything you want to add before I close it out?
Yeah, I done had some fun with y'all tonight, but you know, everybody,
Now that
everybody
blue
just try
moon.
to everybody just try to get to a point in your relationship or with your person where you can't you don't want to leave. You know, you don't want to leave. You want to be with them. You want to be around them, and you want to make them happy because they make you happy. It shouldn't be a one-sided kind of thing, you know. Even though he might make the most money or whatever, that don't mean that you're not an important part of the relationship. Everything is not material. Most things are emotional. All things are emotional when it comes down to it, you know. In a relationship, yeah, I ain't gonna tell you no lie. Now, emotion don't pay the bills, but I mean, after that, you know, a lot of things are built on, you know, emotions. And just know that it's okay to be kind. Know that it's okay not to hold him responsible for something that happened to you in the past. Don't let your trauma of yesterday determine your tomorrow and the day after that, you know. Learn to sift through things and communicate and talk, and don't be afraid to tell what you want, what you need. Ask them what they need, and sometimes, you know, put them first. Don't always put you first. You know, they should be first. Your partner should always be first in some things. If you put them first in everything, they'll put you first in a lot of things. And so that way, everybody will be first because everybody care about everybody's feelings. And if y'all ever, you know, get to the point where, you know, y'all want to shave Mister, please don't go shave Mister. Just learn how to go pick your exit plan.
What you
And
say,
I'm just
shade? You what?
yeah, shade Mister like the color purple. When they start making you that mad and they be like, where's your sister? You know, when she had that deep throated voice and that African music started playing and he leaned back in that chair and you heard her say,
Oh,
lean
oh.
back in the chair.
You
Don't
gonna cut his
shade Mister.
throat? That's what you mean?
Yeah, just go on leave. Just go on leave, Mister. Just go on and leave, Mister. Unless it's my case, I told him we weren't breaking up, and I mean that. Gosh darn it. So anyway, I want all of y'all to get to that point where y'all don't want to leave y'all sugar. Y'all want to love him and everything. But anyway, I'm gonna let Keith have the microphone and stuff because I'm sure he got something to say.
Nah, we it ain't a whole lot to say. I mean, I ditto to everything that you saying and everybody said. All I'll say is this: people on the live, if you want a certain life, if you want a certain relationship, write it down on paper. Manifest that relationship from the spirit and write it down on paper. Whatever traits you want in a person, write it down. And people don't realize the power of writing it down. It's almost the same thing as writing your goals down, right? You got to write it on tablets, and people don't realize the power of writing. So when Mr. G made the joke about writing it in your journal, some people on the live didn't get it. You have to, writing it gives life to it because you have to write it down on tablets. So if you have a certain perspective of what you're looking for in a person, and if you don't know, figure it out and then write it down. And I will almost guarantee you that whatever you write down, that person will come into your life somehow, some way, at some point, and you don't know how it's going to happen. But people don't realize that we're spiritual. Whatsoever a man or woman thinketh in their heart, so are he or she, right? So we can manifest this, so we can get out of these toxic situations by just thinking about what it is exactly that we want. But here's the discipline. Are you willing to wait for it? Because there's going to be all types of things that come once you say, this is what I want, and I'm disciplined. Now there's going to be all different things that come across you, come across your face, your way, and you got to make a decision. So it's all about how disciplined you are. Go ahead, Mr. G.
Oh man, that was beautiful. That is true. You can manifest, and I wasn't kidding with it. Keith, the joy you start laughing at it when I said putting it in the journal, but that's very, very true. Manifestation starts with what you introduce into the universe. So if you're actually writing things down, that's energy, and that energy becomes part of your DNA. It becomes part of your shield. It becomes part of the things that you want out of life. And one thing about the universe and the spiritual realm, if you are disciplined enough, as you say, and if you want it bad enough, if you really believe it, and again, if you're willing to wait, it's going to happen. The universe has never denied any man that was really serious about what they request.
The wait is the key. And most people don't have the patience, Mr. G. The wait is the key. And it can become very, very, very uncomfortable. You can become angry. Look, we've been angry. You've been, I have been. We've dug up what we buried, built, tried to build a seed. We upset. We're not saying this. None of us are perfect on here. No. We're far from it. That's why we can say what we're saying in that sense.
Absolutely. All right, so in conclusion, here we go. Now, y'all listen to this because this is very important, and I hope it reaches someone who really needs it tonight. A toxic relationship consistently drains your peace. It limits your growth, and it makes you feel worse about yourself instead of better. A toxic relationship consistently drains your peace. You can't be peaceful in a toxic relationship. It limits your growth, and it makes you feel worse about yourself than better. So first thing we have to do, we have to trust our instincts. Our instincts are part of this divine spirituality that we have embodied through our Creator, the grand architect of the universe. That intuition is far greater than anything physical that you can imagine. So you have to trust your instincts. If you feel unsafe, unheard, or undervalued, that's your sign. That's the signal. If you feel unsafe, unheard, and undervalued. Unvalued, that's a sign that you're in a toxic relationship. Healthy love is going to always support you. If you're with an individual that truly loves you, they are going to support you. Remember that. They're not going to find ways to tell you, oh, I don't believe you should do that. Or no, that would never work. Even if you're unsuccessful, your partner should support you. Toxic love slowly breaks you down. You think about it. You don't get broken immediately. In a toxic relationship, it slowly breaks you down. And people who are the perpetrators, they know these things. So they know it's a constant thing that they have to introduce to you. And it has to be consistent because they know over time you're going to break if you choose to stay. So choosing to acknowledge the truth is the first step toward reclaiming your power, getting your clarity, and restoring your peace. Choosing to acknowledge the truth that you're in a toxic relationship is the first step toward reclaiming your power, giving you clarity, and restoring your peace. So with that, thank all of you for joining us. Au revoir, au revoir.
Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen and bye-bye. We'll see you all next Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.